got a bit of fan mail from loyal viewer / listener JL.
Yeah.
He reckons in the St Kilda area, which is fitting, right? Justin Kazitsky, not current Jacob Kazitsky. We're talking a bit of a throwback here. Justin.
Old Cozzy.
Old Cozzy, who, by the way, back in the day, man, he had a stretch, I swear, on like Dream Team back when I was playing that.
He didn't play a lot of games though, did he?
No, but I swear he had a stage when I was getting into it where he was like the guy. Anyway.
I feel like you had him every year at one point. Like I had him every year. You always picked Cozzy for some reason, but then I didn't know what I was doing back in the day.
That's what I mean. But at one point it worked out. Like he was amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so huge news here. So he's in St Kilda still, fittingly, at a pub. Couple schooners of Carlton on tap.
Ah, there we go.
So that's your little insight of the week. Thanks, JL.
Little drink of choice. There we go.
You know what? Carlton on tap, it goes down nicely.
That's fair. That's fair. Nice and cold. Especially with the hot weather we've been having in Melbourne, man.
Well, I actually saw Liam Baker on Wednesday night when we went to see Theo Von. Actually.
Yes, yeah.
So all the players are out and about, mate. Loving life.
He was at the
I don't know if he was on Swan Street. That's where Tigers live, on Swan Street.
He must have been there, surely.
So he's just with his boys.
The old bake show.
Maybe he enjoyed Theo Von. I don't know.
Maybe.
He enjoyed Theo Von, and then he enjoyed getting smashed on the weekend as well. So I don't know.
Did you guys have a good time at the performance?
It was pretty good.
No, he's so funny, man.
Yeah,
he's so funny. He just...
Unique sense of humour. It's not really replicated by anyone. You can't really describe
Nah.
how Theo Von... I don't even know how he's funny. He just is.
Was he more like... Because obviously from his podcast, he's very conversational. Is his performance more like that? Or
Yeah.
It's just him thinking.
Yeah,
He's like, what have I been doing? I've been doing this.
Yeah, like, what's a story that I have from 20 years ago that might be fake?
It's like, I had a friend, he had one arm.
Yeah.
He was fighting a grandma. The grandma won. Like, that's his stories.
Like, it almost sounds he's making it up live, but I'm sure he's not, obviously.
Nah, I reckon he's been.
He's got that southerner accent that, you believe everything he's saying. We've never been there, but for some reason, like, he's always fighting with snakes or rolling around in the mud or...
Anyway, opening round happened.
That's true.
And Dean looks very enthused about that.
Yeah, no, look, I said this last week, didn't I? I'm just not a fan of this round. Like,
no one is, bro. No one said anything positive about it.
Yeah, because my thing is this, right? If you simply wanted to capitalize on, TV viewership or like attendance in the interstate states like New South Wales and Queensland, just do that. Make the first game what they did, and then just let everyone else play on Sunday. Like Saturday lunch, there was no game. Sunday whole day, no games. Like you could have achieved your goal and still, like North should have played, Essendon should have played, Hawthorn. Like, come on, man, what's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest with you, like just the regular round of footy's fine. I don't think this adds anything special. Like anyone who wanted to go see Sydney play in their first game would have gone anyway. You know what I mean? I don't know. Was the idea to try to get teams that have a higher attendance?
I think it was more
there?
spreading
Like
tourism / awareness of footy and all the eyes to be on the interstate clubs, especially New South Wales and the Queensland markets. Because the Perth clubs, I'll give credit, like West Coast last year, as bad as they were, they still rock up.
Yeah,
they
true.
do. Yeah.
So I don't think there's a problem there. I do think there's a bit of a problem in Sydney and Queensland, especially when the teams aren't good.
Even though aren't Sydney meant to aren't they meant to have more supporters than Collingwood?
Yeah, that's a joke. And they kept saying that match was a sellout.
But there was empty seats everywhere.
Bro, there was seats everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, anyway.
I don't think anyone wants to go see first game of the year, Sydney-Melbourne.
No. And we all watched it anyway. Like the goal, that's what I'm saying. The goal was achieved anyway. Everyone watched it.
We're going to watch the first game of footy anyway.
Yeah, there was all these ads on like promoting tourism in the state. Like, no problem with that, but like everyone else should have played as well.
Any first round where not every team plays still feels like a practice round.
Correct.
Even when I was watching like Carlton Brisbane, for the first half especially, because we're getting smashed, I was like, ugh, what is this? Like, forget about it. Let's just go next type of thing.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel right.
You tried to hit the skip like it's a Adam Sandler click.
Yeah.
It's like just skip
I
this.
tried to click it, yeah.
But then you might skip all the way past the
No, I
grand
actually
final.
did click it, and then we ended up winning, so it was actually my remote that did that.
Oh, really? There you go.
Yeah.
And here's my second piece of beef with this round, right? Like, I'm just looking at the fixture for this week. There's a few teams actually that played already that are playing each other, like Carlton, Richmond playing each other, Pies, Swans. I think they should have continued that where they could, because now you've got Giants hosting North.
Yeah.
And they've just come off beating the Premiers. Like, not that we had any chance, but like, this is peak confidence that we're walking into right now.
Yeah. He's setting up North for failure, which
Probably
you shouldn't do to the team that's second last on the ladder the previous year.
And
Like,
regardless of opening round, like that shouldn't be our first game. Put it that way.
Well, they've come off like a proper hardened match you guys have come off a practice match that means nothing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Suns, who, excellent win, we'll talk about, playing the Crows, who don't travel too well, typically. Now they're walking into, again, peak confidence Suns. Doggies, again, they're playing Melbourne, who will look to bounce back now instead of just having their first game.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stuff here. I just don't like it, to be honest. Like, for me,
Yeah.
you're looking... Yeah,
I was going to say, and also those clubs who have the week off, they don't have a practice game in between.
Correct.
Whereas the teams who played opening round have the practice game right before, so they're ready to go. Whereas these guys are going to have 2 weeks off after a practice game. Like,
yeah. And you can look at it like, maybe would it be a good thing for a team like North or whatever to not have played rest up? It's the start of the season. They're rested enough. Like, I think
it's interesting because we talked about it last year when they had those bye periods, and like every team that came off the bye lost. And so the AFL obviously looked at that and they didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
They just thought, nah, don't care.
I think the simple fix to that would have been just have Giants play the Suns and have, with the other two teams, Melbourne playing Brisbane. And you're done. And everyone else is playing their first game against each other. Everyone else playing their second game.
I think that's a fair point.
No,
the AFL is just completely thinking for themselves, I think, not for the fans, not for the teams.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was an excellent opening round, though, in terms of some really good games.
Yeah. It was fun.
More so, I think, for the narrative of the season. Like, I think we'll talk about the Suns, sort of set their story straight to start the season with Giants, definitely as well. We'll talk about the Blues shortly.
Oh, yeah.
But let's talk, I guess, Sydney first. So
Sydney
did the business against Melbourne, first game.
Gorn versus Grundy.
Yeah.
And, we thought that Gorn had won pretty convincingly in the first half, but Grundy came back and he's in everyone's Supercoach teams now, as he should have always been.
Well, it looks like he knew how to play him, right? They've obviously played together for the whole season. And, Grundy was taking Gorn's run a lot and kind of going to the other side of the circle. So he
was running straight into him and just engaging him, which you would think Gorn would have the advantage there because he's, taller, he'd be more physically imposing, but worked out for Grundy. He matched him.
He clearly won that battle, I think, in the end.
Convincingly in the end. Yeah.
And then around the ground as well. Like, Grundy's always going to win around the ground. So if he breaks even on taps, that's all he's really got to do. And he managed that. So,
did you guys see before the game, apparently he got stung by a jellyfish on his ear?
Yeah. That was
crazy. And
to think maybe that's why it took him a bit of time to adjust. He had a little bit of pain in the first half.
He was dizzy. He wasn't seeing straight. Yeah.
Could you imagine the big showdown, like first game, he pulls out because jellyfish sting on the ear. But no, I totally agree. And then I think everyone came out of this game talking about Isaac Heaney playing in the midfield.
Yeah, it looked amazing, huh?
And about time, man, because we all know that the quality that this guy has. And now it seems like they've got enough forward depth where they can, you can play Marty, you can play Hayden McLean, you can play Logan McDonald. Why not give him some chances on ball? Like it's
Well, he's plugging holes at the moment with Mills and Adams and Luke Parker out. So I don't think they would have won without Heaney playing that level of performance in the midfield. And obviously having a proper ruckman like Grundy now gives the midfield a bit of an advantage. So strong win from Sydney considering their outs.
I noticed Papley played a lot on ball as well. He was in a lot of CBAs.
You'd think he's the first one to move back forward once the other guys come back, but he shows his ability to do it, pinch hitting there.
I feel like whenever he goes in there, he gets a clearance though.
Papley?
Yeah.
He's pretty good at it.
He's just super dynamic.
Yeah. But no, and then I look from the Melbourne side of things, just having a look at the stats here to remind myself. So Jack Viney dominated. There wasn't too much else though. From their point of view, like standout performers.
It's just, I think, the same story with Melbourne. Like, I think they were 2-8 at half time, so a lot of points. Fritz is kind of like the main forward that converts. The other ones are just not that reliable. Yeah. So I don't know what they're going to do, Melbourne.
Well, look, it's one of those things. If they kick straight, they should win most of the games that they're in. But in this case, it just didn't happen. One positive I will say from them is the fact that Oliver played and he looked basically like his normal self. Maybe a bit more sluggish than usual, but in saying that, the preseason that he's had has been it's been shocking. He's had so much setbacks from various things, but it seems like he's bounced back and he's ready to go, ready for a full season of footy. So that was probably the biggest biggest positive for them. Also.
Yeah, and it still was like a pretty close contest, right? It's just Sydney kicked away at the end. So two teams that I think are going to be hard to beat this year, but I think impressive from Sydney to kind of get that win. done, especially with their outs.
Yeah, true. Because especially inside mid outs as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Blakey's on his way to having an even better season this year.
Oh man, he's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Man. The way he just darts through and just takes the game on, and then not many people can pull off the kicks that he does into the 50 as well.
That's right. And even like he matches up like on opponents that are taller than him and like shuts them down. And then he has the ability to run as well. Dangerous player, man.
Yeah, no, very, very versatile. So.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. We've stalled long enough. I actually haven't spoken to George since the game. I'm not sure if you have, Mata, but
No, not too much.
I was saving it for now.
Yeah. See, this is the game that we don't really need to watch because Georgie usually he takes over on the Carlton
I
games.
do watch Carlton
as he
games.
should.
I do watch Carlton games.
More than once. More than once.
No, actually, I watched it like 3 times. Oh, man, that was a huge win, dude. You can't
Crazy,
tell me that
man.
wasn't a huge win. That was like our second biggest comeback of all time, I think.
Can I say you watched it 3 times? Did you watch the first half? Where you
No,
guys...
I just watched that third quarter.
I was gonna say surely just that part where it went
What's
well.
the point of punishing myself?
Yeah, fair.
Well, the
fair.
first thing I'll say about that game is I was a little bit saddened or made like it was an amazing result, and then you hear about Doherty, and
Yeah,
you also hear about Coleman from the other side as well. If we talk about Coleman first, like someone that's tipped to be a breakout player for the Brisbane Lions and really important for their transition.
They gave him the keys this year to really pull the strings from half back.
It was almost best on the grand final. And then imagine like you prepare the whole preseason, he's hyped, and then boom, ACL. It's the most unforgiving injury because you don't necessarily come back the same player either. And I don't know which knee it is and whether it's his kicking
I think it was
knee or not.
I think it was his left because I'm picturing it. He sort of kicked across his body.
I think he went to kick with his favourite foot.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but he kicked across his body and then it clattered into another dude.
Either way, though.
Yeah.
Either way,
Yeah.
So like, there's no guarantee he comes back the same player, which is pretty scary. And at the same time, he's gone for a whole year. It's not 9 months, not 10 months. It's a genuine year. And then Doc on the other side, his third ACL. Crazy, man. Talk about unlucky. Like, this guy's been through so much.
And did he play the game out? Or am I going crazy?
That's the thing about it. Like, he obviously was sore. And then he gets back up, does the contest. I think he plays for a couple more minutes, goes to the bench. He's explaining how he's a bit, maybe they give him a rub. He comes back on.
Yeah.
He was only subbed off at half time. So he's playing. Like, he got possessions after, which is just mental. How like he can play on and then actually you're out for the year. So I don't know whether there wasn't that much pain or whether he's just an absolute animal. I don't know.
In some cases, it's the straight line is okay, but it's the changing of direction and things.
Right.
So maybe he was, keeping it more straightforward, and then maybe he tested it out a few more times and thought, no, it's not right.
So a lot of ACLs, like Bailey Smith's got an ACL. Who else has got an ACL? There's a couple more players that have copped it this year. But Doc, for a Carlton perspective, Jack Lavani's an ACL as well.
Yeah.
Carlton is obviously in the window to do some special things this year. That's what we hope, right? And losing a player like that with the experience and leadership really hurts. And like we could probably cover him because we've got midfield depth and we've got half-back depth as well with Zach Williams. But you have 1 or 2 more injuries and suddenly the Doherty miss is seriously noticed. So it's pretty bad. Wish both him and Coleman a speedy recovery. But yeah, so that kind of dampened the win a little bit. But nonetheless, pretty crazy result coming back from 46 points. I was watching that and in the preseason, we looked pretty bad both games. And you kind of thought to yourself, how much can you read into preseason? But they don't look on. Carlton's like such a roller coaster of a team. Like we saw last year what they did for the full season. They did in one game.
Yeah,
but
very true.
To kind of come back, even if we didn't win, it was encouraging because it shows that actually we've got firepower. And we're up against a team that didn't lose at the Gabba last year. Their record at the Gabba over the last couple of years has been ridiculous. And we come back against 46 points and hold on. So yeah, I was losing it. I was running around the house, flag blues pretty much. Like if you start your season off like that, you kind of pencil in a loss against Brisbane when you go, round 0, I have to go there. That's a win now. Talk about momentum. It's insane. So and it's good to see Mackay kind of stand up. Charlie Kerner's still a freak. Look, it's very encouraging signs.
It's crazy from my perspective as well. I mean, you're watching the game and you're seeing, Brisbane business as usual. they're almost like taking the piss at one point with their song playing.
How scary did they look, man?
Yeah, their song's playing after every goal. It's like 40 something to one goal. You're thinking, geez, this is ugly already. And their crowd's like singing the end of those like country, take me home, country road, whatever. Like they're finishing it, they're vibing. And then just within like 10 minutes of that second half starting, you blink and game on. Like
it's actually crazy.
Ridiculous.
The momentum. I mean, momentum's so obviously such a big part of this game, and we saw it in Richmond and Gold Coast as well, which we'll talk about. But I'm just so happy that they came back, because I was watching that in the first, second quarter, and I was feeling sick looking at just how easily they came over us.
Like, from your point of view, like rewatching as well, what actually changed? Because obviously the skills and the execution improved, but was there anything else that changed?
I just think, we started to win the contest a little bit more. I think there was a more patient build-up. When one team just looks super clean and the other one's like just kicking it over their head, or they take a mark and they handball it blindly to another person. So it was just more controlled, a more patient build-up. And I think we got better looks in the forward 50, like Charlie Kerner got isolated, Harry Mackay got some nice delivery. And I just think it's momentum, man, because clearly they have the firepower to score quickly. When the team's up and about, they just win the hard ball. But there's obviously something in the background. Maybe they weren't running as hard. They didn't tackle much in the first quarter. I don't think that's necessarily a lack of effort, but like your system and how you're going to go on about it. But Carlton is a pressure-based, hard-running team. They're not that skillful, but they're really like hard-running and tough. When they play that type of footy, there aren't many teams that can go with them. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but pretty good sign for a first win.
It's crazy, man. And no Wiedering, no Walsh.
That's the other thing. No Jack Martin. Like, we're missing some players.
Yeah.
So in the absence of a few of those dudes, though, the sub, Jack Carroll, he stepped that up big time. 4 clearances off the bench. Really showed something there.
Yeah, 100%. I think Jack Carroll is one of those players that we're looking for him to step up this year. He's a couple of years in the system. He's got a bit of a stronger body. Obviously, there's the main mids that we know about, but with Fisher no longer part of Carlton, Down no longer part of Carlton, he kind of moves up the list as kind of the next in. And now that Doherty's out as well, who was playing midfield, I think Carroll's going to have a role to play this year, so we'll see him develop.
Nice.
Crazy and fitting for Harry Mackay to thread the needle.
Yeah, 100%.
Right,
I was actually quietly confident when he took that mark, but he had a pretty good game. But if he had been shanking him, imagine how bad. Imagine if he misses that. And like the talk and
that was the more likely outcome, to be honest.
Yeah, no one would have been surprised. Yeah, we've been like, oh yeah, same year.
It's so funny.
New Year, same.
Same Mackay.
Yeah, same. Common medalist.
We need him at his best for us to do anything this year. I mean, Charlie's he's just a freak, but Harry also is a freak as well around the ground in his contested marks as an athlete. His speed is crazy. So if he can just put slightly more goals in than the ones that he misses, then he makes defenses scramble. Imagine you can isolate both those guys and you don't know where it's going to go. Yeah. Suddenly you can't triple team Charlie and he kicks 10 goals every round. That's it.
I feel like something you said last year is that once you get a contested mark from one of those dudes slightly up the ground, you got another one that can easily get the next contested mark.
That's right.
It's just, Mackay gets it quickly onto Charlie, and it's likely he's gonna mark it, or make a contest out of it.
Yeah.
So
that's a big strength of Carlton. So they have to find a way to kind of maximize those strengths.
I don't think it's too hard to maximize 2 common medalists, man. I think it's just feed them the ball.
Feed them, man. Feed them. They're hungry.
Get the ball fed, exactly.
Let them eat,
boys,
man.
From a Brisbane perspective, do we say... I mean, they still looked good for a half.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I don't think anyone's stressed about Brisbane and what they're going to do this year.
Not to be stressed, but you're up 7 goals or whatever it was at home in the first half. That's unacceptable to switch off in the first 10 minutes of the second half.
Yeah.
Like, that third quarter is, if anything, just neutralize the game, slow it down. Like, that's definitely not alarm bells. I still think they'll easily be top 4, but they must feel like, what a throwaway.
Yeah, it's a massive throw. And they missed a couple of easy goals as well. Like, when we were on that run, we weren't missing. Just goal, 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 goal. And, if you're putting scoreboard pressure on, you're putting scoreboard pressure on.
Tell you what, when I watch Carlton get on a run like that, the one player who just pops as like, when this guy's on, you're in trouble. Cottrell. I swear, man, when this guy starts killing you,
That's
you're
so
gone.
funny, man.
The barometer, man.
Yeah,
Cultural.
He's the barometer, I swear. Like, Kerno and Mackay are going to kick 3 or 4 no matter what. But this guy here, when he starts snapping in goals, forget about it.
On the left, too. Look, he's a blue bagger from heart. Like he was born. Like he was born a blue bagger. Is that he grew up supporting Carlton? Is what I meant to say.
Fair.
So I think he's got that extra passion. But yeah, like he's one of those players that he's one of the best runners in the AFL, not just in the team. He's a freak athlete. You need those players that just run all day and create space. Blake Acres is another one. Blake Acres is not very skillful, but man, that guy runs hard.
Yeah.
And they showed some vision after the game of him spoiling something in the back and then running all the way field and spoiling another one at the front. Like, that is mental. He's sprinting just up and down the field. You need players like that. They don't have to be that skillful. They just need to put on that pressure and run hard. So he's one of those guys. But you're right. When he's snapping goals, you're in for it.
It must be the worst feeling, yeah, anyway, as the opposition.
Lose to Walsh, fine, but lose to Cottrell.
That's what I mean, man. Crazy.
But yeah, no, it was a great weekend. I rewatched that third quarter like 4 times. So
fair enough, bro. Probably more to come. I did have one thing to ask you, though. These Blues fans.
I don't know, man. I actually don't know what they are, where they came from.
The Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers,
yeah, I don't know.
Look, no problem with fans. Like, respect to the travelling fans, always. Like, huge effort of investment to get there and all that stuff. But, like, it was a bit cringe. I don't know. I saw a lot of love in the comments on Facebook and that. It's like, I get it. But at the same time, like, they showed them after every little thing Carlton did, like, it was too much.
Well, they talked about them like the Blues Brothers as if they were established. But I don't really... I'm a pretty diehard fan. I didn't even know who they are.
I think maybe they all just bought the same shirt and then just accidentally matched up.
It's going to become a thing, though. 100% that's becoming a thing.
It can become a thing. I've got, again, no problem. But, like, we can't have the camera on them after every goal, every week. That's going to be too exhausting.
There's just too many goals, Dean. That's the problem.
Yeah, true. Stop scoring goals, then. Jeez. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the next game, which was the Suns, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Suns cleaned up the Tigers.
We tipped the Suns, yeah?
We did.
I believe so.
Yeah, we backed them in.
Oh, we've tipped Richmond to be, like, bottom 4, haven't we?
Bottom
I think
3.
Bottom 3.
Yeah, I think, did we have them above? It was either them second last or third last.
It was third last, I think.
Third, actually, yeah.
And yeah, look, they didn't have Martin, Lynch, and there was one more that they were missing.
Nankervis.
That's 3 of the most experienced and vital players.
Yeah.
But, man, Gold Coast just looks so good. Rowley, 20 clearances.
It's the second most ever.
Yeah, I think what was before, like Greg Williams or something?
It's Paul Salmon, I think.
Paul
He's 22.
Salmon. Who's Paul Salmon?
He's a ruckman, I think.
Ruckman, yeah.
That's impressive for old Salmon, the
Yeah.
old tuna. But like, that was a bad joke. But what's it called? Yeah, no, it wasn't just Rowell. It was Anderson had a good game.
Yeah.
Flanders had a good game. Like,
Miller is back.
Miller's back, man.
Their forward handball out of like the midfield was ridiculous.
And this is my concern with Richmond because you can say Lynch and Martin are out all you want. They do their best work in the forward half. You have to find a way to stop the bleeding from the centre bounce because there's a lot of good midfields in the league. Even bad teams like North have a good midfield.
Well, they still had a couple of good players in there. I think the biggest difference was Witts, man. Witts just took the absolute piss with with both Naismith and
Samson
Ryan. Like he was intentionally taking it out of the ruck and kicking it. So Witts is a really tall ruckman as well, and it's very good. So if he's giving like Rao first use or these guys, that not a lot you can do. But I think if Richmond had Dusty, they might have put him in there to stop the bleeding a little bit or something like that, which they didn't have as an option. But yeah, they got destroyed for the first half and then came back.
Yeah, no, they made something out of it. They didn't just make it a wasted, trip down to Gold Coast. They showed something and won a quarter.
Yeah.
So
their pressure was back on the third. I think there was a couple of like chase down tackles, like Rioli did one. I think Gibkiss did one as well. And you could just sense there was just a bit more urgency, a bit more aggression. And they started to get their game going a bit. And they kicked like 6 or 7 goals in a row.
yeah. So
What happened in the last quarter, though? I guess they've had one good quarter. If we look at the whole game in totality, it was one excellent quarter.
Yeah.
And then where'd the momentum go? Why couldn't they back it up in the last quarter?
The Suns were clearly on top, man.
Yeah. Yeah, no. It's like, we can't just forget that the Suns, exist and are good. So,
I know, but momentum in footy is crazy. Like, to have 1 7-goal quarter and then just barely do anything in the last.
Well, is that credit to Gold Coast or is that just...
That's what I'm asking. I don't know.
I'm gonna say it's a credit to Gold Coast.
Yeah.
That they were able to just work their way back in, which, look, with that type of team, they should be able to do that.
I think it does say a bit about Gold Coast both ways, like good and bad, because in my time, I've never really seen a really good team that's serious about doing anything in the finals concede 7 goals in a row. I don't think that happens too often to the best teams. 3
Carlton
or 4.
did it the night before.
Yeah. It doesn't happen too often. It shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
If you're a really like serious team, you have to find a way to stop the bleeding at about 4 or 5 goals max, in my opinion,
I agree with that.
in a row. But now look, Gold Coast, their forward line, mate. King
Yeah,
and
it looks good,
Lukosius.
huh? Yeah.
Jeez. King 5, Lukosius 3 in the end. But King's the one. He's the guy for
He's
them.
the one,
Like,
yeah.
if he is fit, they're just going to be hard to beat because he bails them out with his wingspan and height.
It's crazy
ridiculous.
how similar him and his brother are as players. Like, I know they're twins. You know, they're going to have the same physical makeup. But, like, look at Ben Mackay and Harry Mackay. They're not completely the same. You know? Like,
Yeah, no.
they're probably are they the closest twins in the way that they play? Like,
Probably.
I can't really think of too many twins who've played.
The Scott brothers,
The Scott brothers.
they were the same.
Yeah,
bro.
no, they were the same as well. Maybe twins are all just the same the way they play. I don't know. I might just be making some stuff
They
up.
also
I don't
look
know.
very alike as well.
Yeah, true.
Either way, you're happy to have either one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh,
him back and fit is massive. I just think the Suns have matured a lot. I know it's only one game, but you know, if you look at their midfield, Rowell and Anderson are ready to take on I feel like they broke out last year, right? Especially Anderson. But if Rowell's going to do that in and under work every week, Anderson does it as well, but I got a little bit more of the outside game as well.
Yeah.
Miller's running in between them. Flanders is adding on the outside. You've got players like Powell, who looks really good this year.
Yeah.
You've got King and Lukosius in the forward line. Even Malcolm Rose as a small looks pretty good.
Yeah. Mate, Ballard.
Ballard as well.
Forget about how good he's underrated. Like, last year he was the most underrated player. Now we know about him, but he was
right.
doing the same thing in the first game. You know,
That's
just
right.
chopping up, you know, all those, you know, 450 entries from Richmond. Yeah.
They've got pieces in every line, and you know it's clear that they're going to be a pretty dangerous force this year.
And the player that Dino ranked as number 1 in this year's draft hasn't even made his debut yet.
Jed Walter,
He's,
yeah.
he's injured, isn't he?
He's injured.
Yeah.
I don't know when he's coming back. And a guy like Humphrey, who is very talented, he's not getting minutes on ball as much as he would otherwise.
Yeah.
So they've got him just waiting to
He
start.
played all right. He did some things, but you're right. He's not on the
He
main.
could be doing more,
Yeah.
easily. I really like the team. I've got to be honest. My only concern with Gold Coast, just from a fan point of view, if they do make finals, how big of a deal would it be? Like if they were hosting a game at Metricon, I just really do hope there's like a fan presence and an atmosphere because for me that's finals. Like you're watching a game, whatever stadium you're playing at is packed and everyone's into it. I just worry if they're hosting someone, say it's like they're in 6th playing Melbourne. It's like Gold Coast versus Melbourne at Metricon. Like, I don't know if that'll excite me, but I do like their team.
10,000 person crowd probably won't excite you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
No, I think I get what you're saying, but the only way they can get fans is by being a successful club.
I hope so. I hope so.
True.
I think the Giants have picked up a bit of momentum over the last year in terms of fan base. And I think the Suns, if they're good and they're winning games, people will go, oh yeah, they start paying attention.
I do hope
If you
so.
don't have if you're not into that much of AFL, you don't watch it a lot, you're in Queensland, you start to see the Suns do good, you pay a bit more attention, you go, you know what, they'll be my team. May not be a diehard, but I'll identify with them. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope you're right.
They've sort of got to convince a young generation of people to
That's
start
right.
following. You
That's
know
right.
what I mean?
And
All
you can
those-
only do that by winning.
Exactly right. So, look, that's probably like a 10, 15, 20 year process. Will they still exist at that point? Yeah, I hope so, I guess.
I think so.
Yeah.
Actually, so they're adding in the Tassie team, and then there's going to be an odd number of teams, aren't there?
Yeah, apparently the Tassie Devils is the sort of confirmed name.
Yeah, it was always going to be that, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
like it should have been the Tassie Thunder, but yeah, it is what it is.
That clashes with the Sydney Thunder and the BBL. That's the problem.
That's what it was. That's what it was. I feel gypped, to be honest with you. I think my marketing skills was way better than Tasmania.
Underutilized, Matt. Underutilized.
I know, man.
We'll find a way to utilize your skills, mate. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Well, that was going to be my point. Like, is there going to be another new team, or are we going to get rid of a team?
Launceston Thunder.
Nah.
No,
They're lucky to
there's
get-
not enough people.
one team's enough there.
No, true.
Well, maybe
I
that's
agree.
why the AFL's trying to like generate more buzz because they're probably thinking they would want an even amount of teams, right? So where are you going to put it? Forget Victoria.
Northern Territory.
Yeah. Oh, is that- yeah, maybe.
That's the only other spot, man.
Oh, could you imagine the home games there in wet season? You couldn't play.
There'd be crocodiles.
True. There
That's
you go.
one way to get more
the
fans.
NT crocodiles, man.
Crocodiles in
It'd
the
definitely be
ground?
the Crocs. Without a
NT
doubt.
Crocs.
Without a doubt, it'd be the Crocs. Yeah, I mean,
shoes,
I
of course.
think Tasmania will get some because anyone that's in Tassie is going to either have them as their first or second team, right? So
Yeah.
they're going to support it.
And they are a footy.
They're a footy state.
Yeah.
So I think Tassie will be okay. But I also think with the Giants, they look really dangerous this year. I feel like there's been a bit more of a wave with them in supporter base over the last year or so. I think they'll be okay. The Suns just need to perform. They need to, like, GWS have made finals, they've made grand finals. Suns have never made the finals at all. So they're a bit behind the curve.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I guess still speaking of Giants, probably going to be all right. They're definitely all right on the field at the very least because they tailed up the premiers.
Yep.
So, yeah. And I think the thing that stood out for me from when I was watching the game was the way they exit the halfback area and the fact that it's like they all know where each other are going to be. They know whether their teammate's going to run. They hand pass it to them right on the money. They kick it to them right on the money. It's amazing to watch. That defense all has good kicks, at least above average kicks, and some of them elite.
Very skillful. And I think they've had a lot of turnover over many years, but I feel like their team's quite settled now. And the core players have played together for a long time.
Yeah. And there's belief in each other, I think. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of dudes left because, they're not sure what we're going to do here. I want to go back home, blah, blah, blah. These dudes have bought in. Toby Green bought in. Cornelio bought in. All these Victorian dudes, they've bought in and they've made it theirs,
100%.
So, yeah.
I think the big talk from the Giants was revenge, obviously.
Yeah.
Narrow prelim loss that they had last year.
Yeah.
It's always a good fixture for the team that lost to just host and get a bit of revenge, right the wrong.
Both prelim teams that lost got revenge that weekend.
They did, yeah. So it was kind of set up for that. I think Collingwood is wise enough now to know their capabilities and they'll be fine going through the season. But you can tell it just meant a bit more for the Giants.
Yeah.
The motivation was there.
I think it says more about the Giants. And like how dangerous did their forward line look? Callum Brown, my gosh. These guys are serious athletes, man.
He's imposing.
And, sorry to interrupt you, Hogan looks as fit as ever.
Yeah.
His body is in great nick. And then there was Cadman as well.
Yeah, Cadman. Yeah,
Kicked 2 goals,
he looked a lot more comfortable than he has previously. He took a couple contested marks, couple goals. Yeah,
Daniel's 4 goals as well.
He's a pretty good small forward. He's very underrated.
He's excellent.
Yeah. And then there's Toby Bedford, who whenever he gets it, he's electric. Like the way he weaves around people.
Yeah.
That team is high quality. Good showcase for them in round one, in opening round. Or round one, opening round.
Got a bit of a crazy stat here. I'm just having a look, see if anything pops. Inside 50 tackles, 1 for the Giants.
Really?
21 for Collingwood.
Wow.
Interesting.
So Collingwood's putting a bit of pressure on, it would seem.
They're locking it in. And you know what? It makes sense because they've got a lot of small forwards. And even their tall forwards are mobile as well. So I guess that makes a bit of sense. But
anyway, I just thought that was
I
interesting.
think the total inside 50 count for both teams was kind of even. But I just think that the way that the Giants moved the ball, they just had a bit more intensity about it. The players were a bit slower. I just think they've got a perfect coach for their game style. And like these players fit that game style perfectly. It's just a match made in heaven. It's crazy to think that last year these guys lost to West Coast. It just takes some time. It takes some time for it to click, but once it does, it's been clicking for a while for GWS. All second half of the season, they were probably the best team, along with Carlton, right? In that wave, and now this year, good luck beating them, mate.
Oh yeah. Well, they destroyed Port over in Adelaide to get rid of them in the finals.
Yeah, they're just slapping everyone that comes their way. They're just not phased. They're not a team that's going to be scared. And they've got really strong leaders, really strong players. I'm genuinely scared of versing the Giants. They're going to be good, man.
Yes. That kind of leads us nicely to round 1. Proper start of the season.
Before you do that, I just thought something.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Mason Cox, like...
Yeah.
What was that,
thank you for
bro?
bringing that up. That's poor.
That is poor. That is really poor.
Seriously. I don't know. And the thing about it is that Mason Cox, like on Twitter and whatnot, he seems to be like a moral compass for certain topics, yet he's doing stuff like that. Pull your finger at it.
Yeah, he made a mistake.
Seriously.
He made a mistake.
Look, I don't know if it's just mistake.
I was
call it a
seeing-
mistake.
So that was the one where he's sort of like pushed over Mummy to get the ball or something.
Well, he's basically gone through
Their
their camp where they're doing
I
and just-
saw some Collingwood fans trying to defend him, and I don't know if it's true, by the way. I don't really care to look into it, but
Yeah, look, I know he's got
saying,
bad
like-
eyesight, but like,
apparently he was like going. That was actually the Collingwood ball, and it happened to just go there, and he had to go get it. I don't know. That's what the Collingwood fans
and
are
thought he
claiming.
would barge through.
It's crazy he went up against Mumford though. Like that's not the man you try shit on.
No.
And he's obviously done some anger management since he stopped playing Mumford.
I know. He looked calm, but at the same time, you could see he was holding it back.
Yeah,
He was definitely holding
Probably
it
just
back.
confused more than anything as well. Like,
Coxie had such a bad game as well. Like it doesn't help.
Oh, yeah.
It does not help.
Yeah.
not
He
at
could
all.
get dropped next week and wouldn't surprise, to be honest. But probably not for their structure. But
yeah. Well, he's become like mainstay in the team. For a while, he was in and out, but
yeah.
He's
Who
kind
knows,
of the
man?
guy now.
After those shenanigans, man. Who knows, man? Who knows?
Never know.
McRae might be really disappointed. Like just like he was when what's his name? McCreary bailed out on the race.
I know I was excited pre-season. All the rumors about him getting midfield minutes. I thought, mate, the Enjoyers have called it. He's ready, and then he's just let us down by giving the same old role.
Oh no, I know.
That's all right, Bo.
Yeah.
Maybe next year.
He might be in trouble for a couple of weeks with the dive on Callum Ward. Popped out his shoulder.
Oh, that looked bad.
Should know about it by now. Has anything happened?
Nothing.
No, I don't think so.
I think
I
might
haven't read anything.
have got fined.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, I haven't
Anyway.
seen anything.
While you check that, Matto, let's talk about the first game of the season, the proper Carlton, as it should be, Carlton versus Richmond at the G.
Right, we're gonna spank the shit out of these Tigers.
You know what? You are, and I'm gonna kind of enjoy it.
Yeah.
To be
We're gonna
honest.
slaughter these kids. I don't see us losing, man. I'm sorry.
No, you can't.
From that momentum coming in, we've got it's Carlton home game, right? It's the first official game of the season. You've got a proper crowd. We're gonna roll in there and we're just gonna smack them silly. That's what I think. And if they don't have Nane Curvis back in the midfield as well, we're gonna run ragged, dude.
Actually, how did TDK go on his own to Koning?
I think he did all right. I don't think there's room for Pitton. He's just too slow.
Yeah.
Like Kennedy, what's interesting is Jack Silvani obviously is gone for the year. So Matthew Kennedy's kind of playing that role, that half forward kind of second ruck role a little bit. I think they're similar players. I think it kind of fits. But I've seen Cripps also ruck as well. They're going to do something like that. They can't play Pitton, man.
Interesting.
So like second ruck by committee, basically.
Yeah,
Whoever's feeling ready for it,
Yeah.
just jump in there.
100%. I mean, even like they wouldn't do it because Wiedering's not here, but Lewis Young can play second ruck as well. There's other options. I think Pitton is just too slow. You need him as a second ruck backup just in case something happens.
Of course,
But
yeah.
TDK is improving every game. He's really mobile. His groundwork is really good. So yeah, he just needs to stay and continue improving.
Yeah. I'll tip Carlton as well, by the way.
Yeah, Carlton,
It's all good. That's a
nice,
yeah.
healthy 40 or 50 point win,
yeah.
I think.
I hope so. It doesn't necessarily
I'd say
mean
so.
it's going to happen like that, but I just think they'll win over Brisbane, man. I think it's going to create a wave of momentum.
No, I agree. The next game will be very interesting, actually. So Collingwood looking to bounce back at home against Sydney, who's found a nice little early season form.
Yeah.
Sydney are a chance on this one.
100% that.
They don't play bad at the MCG either, Sydney, but I'm going Pies.
Can they really lose 2 in a row?
I think it's a bit of a wake-up call. Maybe they came in... you don't know their mentality. You can never know. But if there's a small part of them that came in thinking, we're the premiers, it's just going to happen, they've got a wake-up call. I think they'll be switched on, man.
And the other thing is, like Sydney, they do have a weakened midfield, even though they did all right. But you would think that Collingwood, their midfield who got beaten, needs to wake up. Tom Mitchell needs to wake up. Here's his chance against his old side as well. Play a good game. So,
Yeah, I'll go Collingwood as well. Essendon hosting Hawthorn at the G.
I think it'll be a good game to watch, to be honest.
Yeah. Look, I don't have...
Can I go Hawks?
Of course you can.
Yeah, I'm going Hawks, man.
I'm going Essendon. I'm going Essendon. It's just the better team, man. It's
Yeah.
the
Look, we don't
you
know
would
what's
think-
gonna happen, though.
You would think they're further along in their progression than what Hawthorn are. Let's just, yeah.
Would you be surprised if the Hawks win, though?
No, not really, because Essendon are traditionally a poor team. But
I hope Hawthorn, but I agree. I think Essendon, especially early season, is when they do their best work, right? So,
of course, they've got to excite the fans a little bit.
yeah.
Win the preseason, or win the trade period, and
Yeah.
now here's their chance to win round 1 and round 2, and then that'll be it.
I'd piss myself if Hawks win, man.
I'd love it.
It'd be hilarious.
So this next game, both the time of it and the overall matchup, Giants hosting North at 4:35. It just reeks of a 100-point loss that hopefully no one sees because you're either watching the first game and taking a break or you're waiting for the next game.
It's almost as if they thought, look, the Giants, we're going to give them Collingwood round 1, which is really hard. They might lose, but we've got to make sure that they win the next one. when they did the fixture, which is tough for us. But
And look, I think we agree North it will be a bit better this year.
yeah,
But this
for
is
sure.
still potentially a 100-point loss, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
I think it'll be a 50 to 60 point loss.
I would take that.
And I think North can still play well and still lose by that
I
much.
hope so, man. Thanks
Yeah.
for being optimistic, but I'm scared.
All right. I think we're all tipping the Giants.
Yeah,
Move
yeah,
on
yeah.
to the next one. Yeah.
Cats, GMHBA against
Against the
the St.
Saints.
Kilda Saints.
I'm going with the Saints. baby.
Same, man. I like the Saints, dude.
Same.
GMHBA as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
They don't have... I'm not scared of the Cats anymore, man.
No.
Someone's clipped their fingers.
Yeah, they're all old apart from Max Holmes and Clark.
You know what? I'm going to give him some love at GMHBA
Fair
just for
enough.
that reason.
Yeah.
I don't think the Saints have earned the right for me to tip them over there.
Fair enough. It's a smaller ground, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
Saints
so-
do all right on small grounds, don't they?
Mate, they're the fastest team of all time, apparently.
Ever.
And
There's no one been faster.
Jack Steele's gonna feast on like Clark and who's the other
Don't
guys.
tell me. I just brought in Clark on draft, bro. Don't
Look,
tell me
I'm
that.
sure. Look, he'll be fine, but like, he's playing against kids, man, and Dangerfield, who's old. Like, he's gonna be just fine. He's
Dangerfield's
gonna
not just old, man. He's a grandpa.
He's
the-
Grandpa Paddy.
And Hawkins is 36, man.
He's-
It's not cricket,
he's
bro. You
old.
can't be 36 and still play. I don't understand.
No, I'm predicting Reece Stanley revenge game and Geelong to win. Suns hosting the Crows.
That's a good game.
It is a
That is
good
a
one.
great game. It is. Oh,
I like the Suns, man.
I'm gonna go with the Crows, so I can get Dean to make the decision.
Crows don't
On that
travel.
team.
You said it yourself.
I did say it myself. Rankin back at Gold Coast. Burgess
Burgess
back at Gold Coast.
Revenge game.
Burgess revenge game. I don't.
He might not even play, but yeah, revenge game.
You know what? I think the heat wave continues and Gold Coast wins.
Okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Melbourne hosting the Dogs, 1 p.m. on Sunday.
These games are hard to tip, man.
This one's a hard one.
They are hard to tip because even though Melbourne, I don't know.
Hard to know what to expect from the Dogs.
Yeah. Look, I think because they've had an extra week of preparation, I'm going to go with Melbourne, but it's uncomfortable because the Dogs are still guns. Their midfield group is just excellent.
I reckon the Dogs will win.
Oh.
Putting it on me again. Jeez.
Yeah. That's why you got to get quick. You got to go in quick with the tips.
Just instinct, bro.
Yeah.
Don't think about
The
it.
other thing I've realized that Georgie never usually tips the scale. It's usually one of Dino or me.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
because
I've
I'm in the
noticed
middle.
that.
That's him in the middle.
No, true.
I don't think he will get the opportunity in the next 2 games either, but maybe next week.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right,
happy-
look, I'm going to go Melbourne. I'll go
Alright.
Melbourne.
Fair enough.
Port is hosting the Eagles. That's going to be Port.
Yep.
And then Freo is hosting Brisbane.
Yeah, I'm happy to go Brizzy.
Got to be Brizzy.
Yeah.
100%.
6:50, by the way, Melbourne time. It's interesting nightly viewing on a Sunday.
Jeez, man. It's a midnight finish.
Yeah, bad.
Mm.
Okay,
Nice. Oh,
feeling pretty good about that. Bit scared. I'm excited to see North play again, but
yeah.
week after Freo at home might be the one.
Look, one thing I've learned is that it's a long season, right? So we can't react too much to one game.
True.
So you take it as it is. You look for the small little wins. It's not the end of the world if you lose.
Right.
Carlton was 15th, round 15, and they made a prelim.
I kind of like the zen of George when Carlton's good. He's just balanced in life. Like
I just have a different perspective on life. If you were at my home at in the second quarter, you'd say something different. But now that we're winners and we're winning the flag and it's all good,
so
it's chill.
wise, man. It's
Yeah.
brought you wisdom. Good on you, man. All right. Well, is
It's
there
true advice, though, is it not?
You know what? It is. It is. And
Anything, bro, you got to play this game, but then another like 22.
that's it.
And then the 4 that make you into the grand final as well. So
Actually, yeah, one thing I was meaning to do this at the start of the episode, but just shout out to a few of the comments that were made. Someone, Dr. Namildred, reckons that Brett Kirk is the Shawn Michaels of the AFL. Yeah.
I'd love to know if you can just explain the context of that.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate it either way, but I'd love
Yeah.
to know the thinking behind it.
That one, it was, it says Gustav, 1892. As a Northman, he predicts Larky's going to kick fewer goals, which is interesting because we have extra options this year. I tend to disagree, but hopefully we do have more options and Dersma kicks more goals and Zerha can get in on the goals a bit more this year.
Well, Zerha will if he stays fit because he was
Yeah.
injured last year. Now we've got Dersma.
CCJ, I can't see him stealing that many goals from Larky.
A lot of North fans are either wanting Greenwood to come in instead, play that second ruck / forward. Bit hot and cold on Curtis. Some love him. Some. I'm more on the prove it sort of train. I know he's good, but he's not kicking as many goals as we would want.
The thing with him, if he doesn't kick goals, he doesn't provide much. He's not the greatest pressure forward, and when you're not 190 plus, you need to be that.
True. I think Gustav overall, if North's a better team, doesn't matter, mate. We're going to be happy. So
exactly right. Exactly. So
that's all we want.
All the best for North for the season. The other ones, Go Blues from Manny. That's he frequents that comment, and it's much appreciated every time. Dylan Buckley 7, great video, guys. Keen for more. Thank you, Dylan Buckley. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Dylan Buckley 7.
Yeah, Dylan Buckley 7.
There's 6 others.
I called him out last week to watch the pod, and
there you go.
Dylan Buckley 7 did. So,
are you sure that's the real Dylan Buckley, man?
Oh, must be, man. Look at that Carlton photo.
Do you think he'd have a photo of himself from like 10 years ago?
Yeah. Probably. The thing is, he joined 6 days ago to YouTube, so it's almost like he created. Like Dylan Buckley watched our video and was like, oh man, I've got to quickly create an account.
Yeah, and it can't be the main the podcast. I don't know because it's not publicity.
Of course,
sponsors and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, no,
he's a pro, man.
We see you, Dill. We see you, Dill. But yeah, and then also all the comments, all the positive and negative comments on the Supercoach team reveal. Thank you very much. Good luck to this. Good luck for this season.
It's a tough season in Supercoach.
It is. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's a lot of fun. I like strategy, so planning for these buys is really good. Dean?
You're on your own on that one, mate. I'm boycotting. Anyway, we'll talk about it another day.
There's one other thing we've got to say.
Yeah.
We've got to apologise to everyone that's watching because Dean and I have got our legs out for the first time.
It's hot, man.
Look, it is like 40 degrees, like 3 days in a row. We're not thinking straight. There's I can see a palm tree in the living room. I don't know if I should see that, but it's there.
An oasis.
Look,
I was too ashamed to show off my hairy legs. Couldn't be 3 sets of hairy legs on a podcast.
It could actually. It could be.
Yeah, look, next week.
But that's just reward. Thank you for subscribing. This is your reward, my legs.
If you lasted this long, well, congratulations. All good. Enjoy the footy this week, and catch you on the next one.
See you boys.
See you later.